Everyone, welcome to the last collaborate for the unit. This collaborate is for assessment 3. It is a flipped collaborate and I'm expecting you to come to the actual session with some really great questions about the assessment and some fantastic ideas that you can share with everybody. I'll keep moving on. This assessment is the big one for this unit. It is worth 50%. The word limit is 2,500 words, plus or take 10%. You are developing a unit plan, which I think is one of the best types of assessment throughout the course. It really enables you to really think like a teacher and start learning how to plan, which will be necessary in your future career. The due date is 5 p.m. Monday the 5th of June, which is week 12, our very last week. As I mentioned on the last slide, you are required to plan a unit of work. Now, along with this unit of work, you have to hand in a rationale. The rationale needs to demonstrate a connection between your choices and other information, such as which level have you chosen? What are the previous learning experiences of these children? Which is your preferred model that you use and why did you choose this model? As mentioned when I was talking about the rationale, this task allows you the freedom to choose your own approach that reflects you and your beliefs about teaching and learning. Using your preferred approach, you're going to plan a unit of work that allows students to explore a question or problem of interest to them. Now, when you are choosing which activities and which topic you're going to be looking at, will you be just choosing off the top of your head? No. You must fit this into the Australian curriculum. All decisions we make about what children learn needs to come from the curriculum. We cannot just choose something and teach it to children. You need to make sure it is from the curriculum from the appropriate age level. Make sure that you do this and you provide evidence by referencing the curriculum and including the general capabilities. You may use your state's curriculum, for instance, Auswell's if you're in Victoria, or the Australian curriculum. Okay, this task, as has been said earlier, allows you the freedom to choose your integrated approach. Now, you can choose between interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary. You need to show that you understand what these models are. You also need to explain in your rationale why you have chosen this. Now, there are some people that are still a little bit unsure about what these models are. I suggest you go back and have a really good read of Gordon. Week 2, e-text. Please go back and read that chapter. Now, from that chapter, because there are some people who are really, really confused between multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary, I'm now going to have a look from that chapter and try and explain. Actually, I might even read 2 paragraphs from that chapter. So this is from page 330 from week 2, learning materials, the bottom 2 paragraphs of the page. Also, multidisciplinary in nature is the thematic approach. Like Fogarty's webbed approach, teachers choose a topic, theme, or issue or big idea to integrate subject matter. For example, A Year 4 unit on human rights could draw from history, the effect of colonialisation and Indigenous peoples, geography, religious diversity in Australia today, and civics and citizenship, rights and responsibilities. In each case, the work undertaken in history, geography, and civics and citizenships is linked to or focused on the theme, while still working towards the achievement standards required in each area for a particular level. Okay, so that paragraph was speaking about multidisciplinary. You are looking at different subject areas around a common topic. Now we're going to look at the interdisciplinary approach according to Gordon. Fogarty's threaded and integrated approaches are interdisciplinary in nature. The curriculum is organised around a common learning from a number of subjects. The common learning, which may be a skill or concept, supersedes subject matter content. In an example of the threaded approach, Fogarty suggests that the skill of prediction could be the thread that binds together maths, estimation, geography, forecast, science, hypothesis, and English, anticipation in narratives. Fogarty's integrated approach blends the disciplines by finding overlapping skills and concepts in each. This approach calls for a thoughtful mapping of common knowledge, concepts, and skills across a number of subjects. These overlaps may suggest a number of possible topics, themes, issues, or big ideas. So as opposed to multidisciplinary, which has different subject areas focused around a particular topic, the interdisciplinary approach has a skill or concept with the subject areas focused around that, not a particular topic. That is the difference between multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary. Also mentioned earlier, you're required to find or design your own template, one that suits your plan. Now in week 9, in the learning materials, you'll find that we have an activity that revolves around this. So what you will be required to do is to go and log on to Scoodle, type in an integrated unit of work, and limit your search to F to 6 because you want a primary, obviously you want a primary unit of work. And on there you can explore different units of work. This can help you make a decision about which type of format that you'd like to use for yours. So do a little bit of Googling. Don't just use Scoodle. There's lots and lots and lots of different plans, units of work out there. So do a little bit of research before you decide on your design or plan, and make sure you pick one that suits your particular unit of work. So there are a lot of choices that you get to make in this unit, and one of the big choices is which grade or year level do you plan to teach your unit to. Make sure that your unit of work is appropriate to that grade level, and make sure that it links to the curriculum. So using the relevant curriculum documents is an important part of your decision-making process. Decide on a topic, issue, or question, or as we spoke about earlier, you could choose a skill that you would like them to learn as part of your unit of work. All right, so how do we tackle this enormous task? Well, you have a lot of decisions to make. You need to decide what topic, issue, or skill you would like to cover. Obviously using the curriculum to help you decide this. You need to decide which grade level that you're going to aim it at. And then you can start brainstorming ideas about how you're going to tackle the topic. What strategies might you use to allow for exploration, engagement, and learning? What could you provide for the children to allow for them? How could you engage them? You need to have a think about how our unit has been set up. Have a think about in weeks 1 to 2, tuning in. How will you tune and engage the students? How will you tune them into the topic? Finding out. How will you help them find new information? What strategies, what resources will you use to do this? The sorting out process. How will you allow for the children to do that? How will they represent the information that they have learned? Making conclusions. Okay. So you need to think about how are you going to provide for the children's learning? What are some of the stimulus material that you're going to use? This needs to be included in your unit assessment. So you need to have a think about the stimulus material, books, videos, images, photos, sound recordings. They all need to be listed in your final submission. You can include hyperlinks to web-based materials. There are so many resources on the web. I use YouTube videos pretty much every single day. There's so much great stuff out there, particularly around maths. So anything that you use, you need to put into your unit. We need to know what you intend to use, how you intend to implement your unit. Okay, so let's run over a checklist of the things that we need to cover in our unit. So a brief description of the cohort. Have they had any previous experience around the topic or issue or skill that you'd like to cover? Are they mainly girls, boys? Do you have any children with special needs in there? Okay, these things need to be thought about as well. Do you have an aide to help you? Which discipline areas or subjects are you planning to integrate? Are you using the Australian curriculum or AusVels or a different curriculum from a different state? How many weeks is your unit going to cover? Now, I'm going to suggest a minimum of 4 weeks. A minimum of 4 weeks. What is the essential question or problem that you would like the children to achieve or gain knowledge about? The phases of inquiry, which I just mentioned earlier, go back and have a look at our unit. What key resources have you used? They need to be listed. Have you thought about assessment? What types of assessment are you going to use? This needs to be highlighted throughout the unit. What learning outcomes are drawn from the curriculum areas? Show evidence of this. Show that you have carefully considered the learning outcomes from the curriculum areas. You need to write a 150 to 200 word statement indicating what experience the students already have in the curriculum areas. So if you want to, this could be part of the brief description of the cohort. Okay, so you can actually decide how you're going to present this. And if I was presenting this, I would put that in that section. You need to supply an overview outlining the skills and understandings that the children will achieve in this unit. You need to supply a list of stimulus materials and resources you plan to use. And as I just mentioned before, you can give hyperlinks to websites. And then, once you've done your unit, you need to provide evidence about everything that you've done and every choice you've made in your rationale. Why have you made these choices? Back it up with evidence and make sure you do some reading and list supporting evidence. Within the checklist, there are lists of stimulus materials and separately resources. Now, I'm happy for you to put this in the same section with resources and then a separate subheading for stimulus materials. So you do not need two separate sections for this. The resources, you need specific details. I need the title of a book rather than just stating we will use a book. You need to give me the specifics. We've talked about the rationale a bit earlier and all throughout this Flipped Collaborate so far. Make sure that you justify every decision that you've made. Relate it to the curriculum that you have selected. Okay. Why have you chosen the particular stimulus material that you have or the resources that you have used? Does it link to particular learning outcomes? What assessment strategies have you chosen? And why have you chosen those ones? And again, it is so important. Include references to the learning materials, Fogarty's models. We've spoken about Fogarty's models throughout the unit. Everyone should be becoming very familiar with them. And as I said earlier, go back and read Week 2's e-text, Gordon, and explain why you have chosen that one. Does it fit closely with your chosen approach? Why does it fit? Again, this unit is all about you making choices about how you're going to present it. And as it says here, it is difficult to attribute exact workouts to unit plans. Be guided by the weighting of the task, 50%, for the various components. And feel free to change things around on the checklist. For instance, the cohort and the previous learning experiences, put them together. The resources and the stimulus, put it together. It is up to you how you present it. It's also up to you how you decide to use the words that you've got available. So within your unit, you need to demonstrate the following. The knowledge and understanding of integrated studies. Do you know how to implement an integrated unit? What is an integrated unit? What options do you have available with integration and the models? Does your unit flow? Does it make sense the way that you have decided to implement it? Have you justified the decisions that you have chosen in the rationale? And how well have you presented it? Make sure it is presented professionally. Again, this is a holistic rubric. You need to make sure you have completed all aspects of a pass, before you can move on to the credit level, and so on. Make sure you read the rubric carefully. Your assessment will be submitted via Turnitin. You will need to put it on a Word document. and a running head is required. It is so important that you read the rubric and as you go, tick off what you have achieved. Make sure that you cover everything that is on the rubric in order to go up to the next level. So you need to, in a past, you would need to have a clear understanding of the way that students learn through an integrated approach. You need to have the correct age group, and that needs to be written in your unit. And it needs to be appropriate. The activities that you provide needs to be appropriate for that age group. Okay, the stimulus materials need to be carefully considered for that age group, and do they work? And why are they going to work? Why have you chosen them? You need to have your plan flow. The whole unit needs to flow well. You need to make sure in your rationale that you justify why you have chosen the particular topic. How does it connect to the curriculum? Why have you chosen the learning experiences and the resources that you plan to use? Make sure your rationale is thorough. Make sure that you link everything that you do to supporting evidence. Make sure that you reference all of the work that is not your original work. And please proofread your work to make sure there are no spelling and grammatical errors. Moving on to a credit. Again, your relevance of your selected approach. Why have you chosen that approach? How does it connect to the topic, question, or issue being explored? Demonstrate that you understand integration. Demonstrate this within your plan by showing practically how it's set out, explaining it in the rationale. It needs to be demonstrated. Your plan needs to make sense. You need to have a think about how the structure is going to be. Will you use the tuning in, finding out, and such and such? Is that your structure? Why do you need to use it that way? Do we need to get the children's interest first by tuning in? Make sure you include a list of resources. And make sure you have a think about what you're doing and it's going to be interesting for the children. Something that inspires the children to want to learn. Again, make sure that your submission is professionally presented. And again, make sure that you cite all evidence or supporting literature. Make sure that what you do write is correct and that it links to the curriculum. Moving on to a distinction. You need to show that you understand why you have chosen specific strategies. Why and how do you think these are best for these particular children for this particular topic? Demonstrate that you have a really good knowledge of the curriculum and that you can implement authentic learning assessment. That you understand the cohort. You understand how this age level will need to learn. How are you going to challenge them? Part of being a teacher is being able to think creatively and make things interesting and exciting for children. You need to demonstrate that you are able to do this. How are you going to choose to present your unit? You need to be able to demonstrate a capacity to justify your decisions. Make sure that everything you use is evidenced, but don't forget to use your own creativity in a way of presentation for it. High distinction. Your learning experiences that you have chosen for the children are justified by the topic choice is connected to the curriculum. The stimulus material, justified. How are you going to implement this? Justified. Your rationale is supported by supporting literature. Your writing for your rationale is mature and sophisticated. You have thought about the children and their learning needs. This has been your top priority. If you're aiming for a high distinction, this is what I'm going to be looking for. If I was a casual relief teacher and I was coming into your classroom, I would be able to pick up the plan and follow it completely. I would be able to know exactly what resources I need when and be able to implement your plan through your description. Your plan will be creative. Use your creativity. Make it fun for the children. Make it professionally presented and easy to use. And edit and proofread. Make sure there are no mistakes within it. Some resources that you need to read in preparation. The assessment PDF. Make sure you familiarise yourself with the rubric. Read weeks 1 to 12 and evidence this within your work. The Australian curriculum or a curriculum from your state. And please, please, please come to the collaborate session. And I'll see you there. Bye.